This Roblox player woke up one ordinary morning to find that nobody else remembered his best friend. They had been inseparable for years, building whole worlds together every single night after school. Then, in the space of one day, it was as if that boy had never existed at all. What Sam did when the whole world forgot his best friend is something you truly need to hear. Sam was 13, and his best friend in the entire world was a boy named Danny. They had met in the second grade, and they had been completely inseparable ever since that day. Danny lived 4 houses down the same street, in a blue house with a crooked basketball hoop. Every day after school, the two of them logged onto Roblox and built an enormous world together. They had spent almost 3 years building that world, block by block, room by room, side by side. They had inside jokes that nobody else understood, and a secret handshake with 7 separate steps. Danny was left-handed, he was terrible at spelling, and he laughed at his own jokes before finishing them. Sam knew 1,000 tiny, specific things about Danny, the way you only know your very best friend. He knew the gap in Danny's front teeth and the scar on his knee from a bad bike crash. He knew that Danny was scared of the dark and that he secretly still slept with a nightlight. These were not vague feelings or fuzzy impressions. They were sharp, detailed, real, everyday memories. Being around Danny felt as easy and natural to Sam as breathing, and just as impossible to notice. For 3 years, Danny had been the single most solid and certain thing in Sam's whole life. They had promised to finish their giant Roblox world together before that school year finally ended. They had even carved their initials, side by side, into the old oak tree in Sam's backyard. That carved tree would end up being the strangest and most important detail of this entire story. So when it all began to unravel, Sam had absolutely no way to prepare himself for it. It started on a completely normal Sunday night, with the two of them gaming together as always. They said goodnight over their headsets, they logged off, and Sam went to sleep like any other night. He had no idea that it was the last time the world would ever agree that Danny was real. On Monday morning, Sam walked into his classroom, and Danny's desk was simply not there anymore. In the spot where his best friend had sat for the whole year, there was now a bookshelf. Sam laughed and asked the class where they had hidden Danny, sure that it was some elaborate prank. But his classmates just stared at him, confused, and not one of them knew a boy named Danny. The teacher checked her list, twice, and told Sam gently that no Danny had ever been in her class. He walked slowly around the room, touching the bookshelf, as if his hands could prove his own eyes wrong. Nothing in the whole room agreed that his best friend had ever sat and laughed right there beside him. Sam's stomach dropped, and he told himself that this simply had to be the strangest joke ever played. After school, he ran to the blue house 4 doors down, the one with the crooked basketball hoop. A family he had never seen before answered the door and said they had lived there for 10 years. There was no crooked hoop, there was no blue paint, and there had never been a boy named Danny. Here is a real and unsettling fact about human memory that you genuinely need to understand tonight. Your memory is not a recording, and it does not save the past the way a camera saves a photo. Every single time you remember something, your brain rebuilds it from scratch, and it can rebuild it wrong. Scientists have even planted completely fake childhood memories in adults, who then swore those memories were real. So a part of Sam desperately wondered if his mind had somehow invented 3 whole years of a friend. But then he pulled out his phone to look at the hundreds of photos of the two of them together. And every single photo that had once shown Danny now showed only Sam, standing completely alone. There was the birthday photo, but the seat where Danny had sat was now just an empty chair. Sam went home, shaking, and he asked his own parents to please tell him about his friend Danny. His mother looked at him with worry in her eyes, because she had never once heard that name before. She reminded him, gently, that he had always been a bit of a loner who preferred playing on his own. And that single, quiet sentence frightened Sam more than anything else that had happened all day long. He called every mutual friend they had ever shared, one by one, with his hands shaking around the phone. Each of them was kind, and each of them was confused, and not one person remembered any boy named Danny. And with every blank, worried stare he received, Sam felt his own certainty crack a little bit further. There is a strange thing that happens when huge groups of people all remember something incorrectly together. It is nicknamed the Mandela effect, after thousands of people who share the same false memory of one event. Whole crowds will swear a logo, a movie line, or a death happened in a way that it simply did not. Our memories feel perfect and certain, and yet they can be shared and wrong on a truly massive scale. So Sam stood at the terrifying center of a question with no safe answer that he could live with. Either he had imagined his best friend, or the entire world had somehow forgotten that Danny was real. That night, unable to sleep, Sam logged onto the giant Roblox world that he and Danny had built. The world was still there, every tower and tunnel they had made together over their 3 long years. But at the top of the screen, where 2 builders had always been listed, now only 1 name remained. The second builder slot was still there, still filled, but the name inside it had become impossible to read. The letters shifted and blurred every single time that Sam tried to focus his eyes directly onto them. Something had left the account, and the world, and the photos, but it had not been able to erase everything. Sam was terrified, and a part of him truly believed that he was slowly losing his own mind completely. So he finally did the bravest and the smartest thing that anyone in his situation could possibly do. He sat his mother down, and he told her everything, calmly and honestly, from the very beginning. His mother did not remember Danny, but she did not laugh at Sam, and she did not call him crazy. She listened to every single word. She held his hand, and she told him they would face this together. Here is something genuinely important, and it matters far beyond any scary story that you will ever watch. If your memories and the whole world around you ever stop matching up, that is frightening, but it is survivable. It does not mean you are broken, and the strongest thing you can do is tell someone who loves you. His mother squeezed his hand, and for the first time in days, Sam did not feel completely and utterly alone. Sam's mother took him to a kind doctor, who checked on him and helped him sleep and eat again. And then, together, the 2 of them started to search for any real proof that Danny had ever existed. They dug through old email, old messages, and a dusty cardboard box of school papers up in the attic. It was as if a careful hand had gone through the entire world, quietly deleting one single boy. For hours, they found nothing at all, until Sam's mother opened an old yearbook from the 2nd grade. She turned to the class photo, and she went very quiet, and her face slowly drained of all its color. In the middle of that old photo, standing right beside a tiny, grinning Sam, was another little boy. His face was strangely blurred, as if the camera had somehow failed to focus on that one child alone. And underneath the picture, in the neat printed list of every student's name, one name had been scratched out. Sam stared at that blurred face and that scratched out name for a very long and silent time. He was not imagining things, and he never had been. And now at last he finally had his proof. And here is the part of this whole story that I truly need every single one of you to hear. It does not matter whether it was a trick of an overwhelmed mind or something far colder and stranger, because both of those answers lead to the exact same truth about the people that we love the most. Your memories of them are real to you, and that alone makes them worth holding on to forever. Danny had lived inside Sam's mind more completely than he had lived anywhere else in the whole world. And when the world tried to erase him, Sam's stubborn memory was the one place he could not be reached. Grief and fear can make a lonely mind doubt the most real and precious things that it holds. But the most important thing Sam did was not the remembering, and it was not the searching for proof. It was telling his mother the truth, instead of hiding alone with a fear far too heavy to carry. When reality itself feels wrong, the answer is never to face it silently and completely on your own. The answer is to reach for the people who love you and to let them stand in the dark beside you. Sam never learned what had taken his best friend, or why he alone was allowed to remember him. But he learned that a memory shared out loud with someone who loves you can never be fully erased. Over the next few months, Sam slowly began to feel like himself again, with his mother's steady help. He kept the old yearbook, and he kept one saved file of the world that he and Danny had built. He did not obsess over them, and he did not let the mystery swallow the rest of his young life. He simply kept them safe, quiet proof that his best friend had once been wonderfully, completely real. The fear faded, the photos never changed back, and no one else ever remembered the boy named Danny. Sam made new friends, he laughed again, and he let himself be happy, but he never once forgot. Then, one quiet evening almost a year later, a friend request appeared on his old Roblox account. The account that sent it had no picture and no name, just a blank gray space where a name should be. Sam opened the single message that it had sent him, and he read the 7 short words waiting inside. It was the last line of their secret handshake, the words only Danny in the whole world had ever known. And then, before Sam could type a single reply, the account and the message simply vanished forever. Sam did not chase it, and he did not panic, and he did not spend his nights searching for more. He just smiled, quietly, because he finally understood the one thing that this whole strange year had taught him. The people we truly love leave a mark that no darkness and no forgetting can ever completely erase. Have you ever remembered something so clearly that no one else around you seemed to remember it at all? Tell me exactly what it was down in the comments below, because I really do want to know. If you watched all the way to the end, then you already know to never carry these things alone. Subscribe so you never miss another story that keeps you and the people you love a little safer. Take care of each other out there, and I will see you again in the very next one.